1. Welcome everybody, this is Jason Rosen with UN's Enzymes, once again with Troy Opperly to discuss another one of our products recently released. It's our Chlorella product. I know this is a fun one that I know you especially had a really good time putting together through Oregon Tilth, and we wanted to put together a product that solves a huge problem in society, which, well, two things is the lack of absorption of nutrients. Again, enzymes, a huge player there. And then, the problem with the environmental toxicity and just a good way to cleanse. So what we wanted to do is talk a little bit about this product called Astrazyme, the sourcing, and then kind of go through what else is out in the marketplace and, where this product stacks up. So, Troy, why don't you take us a little bit more into the development of this guy, and then we'll hop into comparing it to what else is out there.
Yeah, so again, relationships are everything. So Oregon Tilth is an organic certifier. Again, they are kind of the recognized leader in the industry. So that's why we went with them. So their name is on the label. It's on our literature. It's on our website. So again, in order to be affiliated with them, they do have pretty high standards. So this was a very fun project, and also just more near and dear to me because most people don't realize this, but 27 years ago, I got into this industry because of blue-green algae. So this has kind of come full circle to put together a product and offer it back out into the marketplace using the same, essentially raw material that I started with that many years ago. So very cool. So again, I've always used it as a nutrient protein source that's clean, readily absorbable, and also on the flip side, during any kind of cleansing, detox programs, that this is an absolute must, part of any of those kind of programs.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's such a twofold type of product, and we'll definitely get more into that as we roll on. So as we go next to the next slide, why don't we talk a little bit about what else is out in the marketplace. So we've got a couple labels here of some of the top selling superfood products out there, and again, on this one here, there's some things that I would like to definitely have you go into depth in and pick apart, so people can have a better understanding on how to compare, what they're getting versus what's actually in our product. Because there's just so many products out there that complain to be, say they're these huge superfoods and things like that. So why don't you take us through this first label, please, Troy?
Yeah, so I think like with this company, they're taking an approach that, the more the merrier, the more the better, which it's fine. But what we're looking at is that it's not a powder. These are capsules. So capsules have very limited space. So in this case, like I look at the first, the main ingredients, right? Because this is supposed to be a greens product. I mean, they've obviously got some other things, a lot of other things in there that aren't necessarily green. But their main thing here, you got 3.5 grams of farmed green juice blend. So you take that 3.5 grams, take it times 1,000 to get the milligrams. So you got 3,500 milligrams, and then look up at the top. You got 8 capsules. So you divide that 3,500 by 8, and you end up with 437 milligrams per capsule.
Yeah.
And then no, actually that's 8 capsules, right? So no, actually 437 per capsule, yeah, times that. So then if you look at the number of ingredients that are in that blend, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ingredients,
right?
So you divide the 437 by 6, so you're down to approximately 70 milligrams of each ingredient, per capsule. So 70 times 8. Nope, that's not right. So if 3,500 milligrams divided by 8, 3,500 milligrams divided by 8, yeah, it's 437 milligrams per capsule of that blend. So then you divide that, so 70 milligrams. Yeah, so that's all you're getting per serving then, right?
And you're swallowing 8 capsules just to get that.
Yeah. So again, it's like you're subdividing this capsule into, because we could go to the next one too, that you look at that, you go, it's 1 gram, so it's 1,000 milligrams for 8 capsules. So 125 milligrams, and you've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
A lot.
17, whatever, at least let's just say 17 conservatively, right? So you got the 1,000 divided by the 8 divided by 17. It's 7 milligrams, right?
Right.
That
7 milligrams of a little bit of organic apple. So and if you take a look at some of the other ingredients on here, you're definitely looking at some things that, especially patients that are going to see a doctor for a chronic condition, they definitely could be reacting to these. They're definitely probably going to come up on a food sensitivities panel as well.
Yeah, so I just it's a different approach. I mean, obviously,
right.
They feel that that's enough. I mean, 7 milligrams of each of these things. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, that's not our approach. I mean, I'd rather have smaller number of ingredients and more concentrated volume or quantity that's going to produce the real result. Because a lot of these things aren't, I mean, not that organic barley grass juice, right? Because it's barley grass juice. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, that's not the same as just barley grass. Now you've got the so it's very, very deceiving as far as what kind of benefit do these things really have at those kind of doses? I mean, I would say pretty much close to none.
I couldn't agree more. And it's one of these things, you just take a quick glance at the label and you're like, oh wow, look at all this raw organic stuff. This must be so good for me. And again, it's sifting through these labels. So I really enjoy doing these webinars with you and helping these doctors understand these things a lot better. So all right, so we move on to the next guy here. So we got 6 capsules in this one.
Yep. So again, this is a little better. So this is a step up. So now, like the main ingredient, you recognize, hey, they have chlorella on there. That's great, right?
Yep.
So the 2,500 or 2,050 milligrams divided by, they've got 6 capsules here. So you have 341 milligrams per capsule of that. You go, okay, that's a good amount. So, we're off to a good start there. And then what they're doing here, again, vegetable blend. So, I mean, none of that stuff would be considered greens, right?
Right.
I mean, carrots aren't green. Cauliflowers aren't green. So, I'm not sure where they, again, they're just calling it a veggie blend. So, again, we could take that 1,500 milligrams divided by 6. So you get 250 milligrams. You got, 6 different things in there. So you're getting, 250 divided by 6, about 40 milligrams of each thing. Okay, that's a little bit better than the last formula that we saw. And then proprietary blend. Again, these numbers go down. I mean, look at from 1,500 milligrams to 150 milligrams divided by 6 capsules. Now you're talking 25 milligrams per capsule. And there's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 ingredients. Right, so 25 milligrams divided by 14, that's less than 2 milligrams of each of those. So why would you even put that in there? I mean, I don't know about that part of it. Enzyme blend, so they've got bromelain extract, 80 GUDs. They probably mean GDUs per gram. So again, that's a little deceiving. So they've only got 100 milligrams. So if you a gram is 1,000 milligrams, so you divide the 80 by, you can take off, it's only 1/10 of that, right? Because you've got 100 milligrams instead of 1,000 milligrams, so it's 8 GDU in 6 capsules.
Right, in 6
so
capsules.
8 divided by 6, it's basically 1 GDU per capsule.
Right. So if you're looking for enzymes, this is definitely not a place to.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive that they could squeeze 1 GDU in there per capsule.
It's like a little pixie dust fairy just carrying a couple enzymes over into the thing or something.
Why would
So
you even put that in there? I mean, 1 milligram is not going to, what I mean, would
right.
not do anything. And again, they don't list activities for any of the other enzymes.
Yep.
So
Right.
that's there. Probiotics, it's nice that there's 100 milligrams. I mean, means nothing. How many CFUs are there? It doesn't say. And now you've got another proprietary blend. So 1, 2, 3. So, you've got 13 milligrams of each of that stuff in there. And then obviously this is kind of a multi approach here because they've got stuff that's obviously going to cover the liver.
Yep.
So anyway, it's not a horrible formula, but I think the saving thing in here is that they put over 300 milligrams of chlorella in there. That's the main benefit. The rest of the stuff is really, why did they put it in there?
Yeah, just gonna cover the bells and whistles of all the things people basically hear are good for them, and you're not putting them in there in a concentration that's probably going to do a whole lot of benefit, especially popping 6 capsules just to get these amounts.
Yeah, because down at the bottom, I mean, like Goji, okay, I got 2.5 milligrams divided by 6 capsules. That's 0.4 milligrams. I mean, again, there's no point in doing that or putting a formula together like this because there's zero benefit.
Yeah, like a good ounce of Goji to really get a good whack out of it.
All right. Okay, so we're getting a little better. So let's go on to
making some steps up. Yep. So here we go.
And the capsule dosages are going down, so that's good too. So we went started with 8, then 6, now we're down to 5. So again, I think they have a label problem here as far as they got 2.4 milligrams of the main greens blend. So I'm going to guess that they meant 2.4 grams.
Right. So they probably made a pretty big labeling error there.
Yeah, we're just going to assume.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt on that. Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt. Yep, exactly. So 4, 5, 6, looks like, 7 different ingredients in there. So if it's 24, well, actually you got 2,400 divided by your 5 capsules, 480, and then you're going to divide that by the 5 ingredients in there. So, a little less than 100 milligrams of each of those things in there. So organic wheatgrass, okay, organic barley grass. And again, when they do these, what you call proprietary blends, where they're not listing the milligrams of each one, it's always by the largest quantity or the largest milligram dosage to the smallest milligram dosage. So that's where you want to look at these things, because wheatgrass is incredibly cheap, barley grass is incredibly cheap, alfalfa is incredibly cheap. Now now you're down to
the stuff is really in there, right?
Really, the expensive stuff. We got spirulina and chlorella. Those are the only 2 expensive things in there, and they're way down on the list. So again, and we're assuming they're putting equal amounts in there, which they're probably not. I mean, they could be putting in, large quantities of the first 3 to fill it up, and then you just throw in a little bit of pixie dust on those 2 expensive ones. So again, that's why proprietary blends are not the greatest thing out there.
Yeah, they're not transparent, and that's definitely something that I've really enjoyed learning from you, is how important it is to have transparency on your label.
Yeah. Then some of these other things, antioxidant blend, again, most of that stuff is not green. So why it's doing in a green product, I don't know. 419 milligrams divided by 5 capsules, 83 milligrams. And you've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things, so you're down to like 10 milligrams each. So again, not a lot of, there's no point in doing that. EFA fiber blend. So, that's probably a good thing, 300 milligrams. Then you're going down to your enzymes again, 2 milligrams for 5 capsules.
Right.
Wow. 2 milligrams divided by 5. Now, pretty soon we're going to be in the negative.
Right. We sound like negative enzymes in here, right?
We're down to 0.4 milligrams per capsule, and then we're going to divide that by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different guys there. So 0.4 divided by 6. We're talking 0.06 milligrams.
What could that digest? Like nothing. So yeah, I don't know. That's just funny. But
it's funny stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, like we said, we're not picking like the worst. We're trying to find the best stuff that's out there, and there's definitely some benefits to these products. Don't get us wrong, but it's just good to know what you're really getting.
Right.
Okay, so this is our label, and Troy, why don't you take us through this guy? As people can probably clearly see already, it's quite a bit different.
Right. So, one big thing that we always, just part of what we do here. I mean, single capsule dosages. This is one capsule. I mean, I like that. So now
Yep.
you're looking at, some pretty substantial amounts that those other companies were, dropping into 5, 6, 8 capsule dosages. So the first thing, organic blue-green algae, 300 milligrams. I mean, great. That's a substantial amount. Organic spirulina, same amount. Those, and again, we talked about those are the two most expensive ingredients. I mean, they're the number two, the first and second ingredient in the blend. That's great. Organic chlorella. Again, that's a little bit less expensive. That's a cracked cell wall version, obviously for bioavailability, 20 milligrams of that. And then we have a bifidus acidophilus blend in there. And again, we list both,
Yep.
just to be on the safe side. So we got 750 million CFUs, total activity between the two, and they're listed at the 5 milligrams. Those are not organic. And then going down to Astrazyme, so that's our proprietary kind of absorption blend of enzymes and extracts of astragalus and noto ginseng, 75 milligrams.
Yeah.
So,
And that's just a wonderful player for obviously absorption and protein breakdown, and things we're going to get into more here as we roll on. And like you made a really good point about the probiotics not being organic. It's because they can't be, right? I mean, the product will say 75% organic, but people need to understand it's not all organic because there's things in here that cannot be certified. So,
yep. So bacteria or probiotics are one of those, and then the enzymes are also not. To this point, there's not a single certified organic enzyme on the planet. So, yeah, you have to take those off. And then we talked about the other ingredients. So, organic NuFlow 70R. It's a fancy way of saying it's silica, it comes from the rice hull, concentrated rice hulls. So it does not contain any rice. It's just the silica portion of it. So that's kind of our flow anti-caking agent. That's natural. No, to date, there are no issues that we've had or any negative feedback versus, your mag stearates or your veg stearates, things of that nature.
Right. A lot of interesting research coming out on those different excipients used, and potentially damaging mitochondria and things like that, which we're beginning to find is more and more of an issue in the direction that nutrition is heading.
Yep. So again, very small. That's probably less than 10 milligrams per capsule. And then we look at it, NP. These are the special capsules that are required if you do want to get your product certified. So NP, pullulan, and water is what those are comprised of. So that's it. I mean, it's a very clean, simple product, but very concentrated in the things that need to be concentrated.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at each of the ingredients then? Yep.
Let's take a look at each ingredient and go in a little bit deeper and talk about the sourcing and some of the the cool things about like that we didn't even touch on with the other products. We don't know where they're being sourced from, but we can only speak to that on our side. So the organic blue-green algae, this is the coolest player. I know you worked really hard to secure this source. It is like the source if you're going to get things that aren't grown in a lab, and it needs to come from that beautiful lake in Oregon. Troy, why don't you tell us a little bit about the source of this guy?
Right. So the source is obviously Klamath Lake, Oregon. The only real supplier on that lake that knows what they're doing and has pretty much proven that is E3 Live. So this is sourced directly from them. And I had the opportunity, like I mentioned, 27 years ago, to actually go out and visit Klamath Lake and see how that's harvested. Check the whole thing out. It's very, very, very impressive, very pristine area. So yeah, absolutely fell in love with it back then and have been taking it pretty faithfully since then. Yeah,
and there's all kinds of concerns with organic blue-green algae out there with environmental toxicity. And one of the beautiful things about this lake, it's probably one of the last places on Earth that are going to be secured from environmental toxins because how high it is, how clean the area is, and planes aren't flying over it, things like that. So probably one of the last places on Earth that will actually be able to source a really good, clean, organic, wild grown blue-green algae.
Yeah, and then just getting more into the detail of it. I mean,
Yep.
incredibly, high percentage, 70+%, protein by weight. Again, the amino acid profile matches that of the human body, so absorption rates are already excellent to begin with. And as far as the blood cleansing, blood purifying, all of those characteristics are definitely a part of this.
Huge. Like I always tell doctors, if they have a patient that is just absolutely nutrient deficient, and you even put anything into their bodies that they, could have, issues assimilating, that this is where to start. Or the patient with just extreme, dysbiosis, like you said, it matches the amino acid profile of the human body. It's got every essential and non-essential amino acid on it. So if you are just absolutely nutrient starved, this is a great place to start with your patients, because sometimes even just putting patients on a basic, diet, they can't handle it. So this is a great way to start them absorbing nutrients. And that way we have them take it with food. And the other thing I love about this product is it can be taken away from food as just a beautiful blood cleansing agent. As you mentioned, it's great for, all the different environmental toxins in the blood. And then it's also huge for boosting the immune response of the body without creating mitochondrial damage. So really cool research on that. If any doctors want more info on that, they definitely hit me up. So let's pop to our next guy, and that's our organic spirulina.
Yep. So this one comes from Taiwan. So a company that's been harvesting, growing spirulina since 1964. So they are kind of the go-to company on the planet. I do believe they produce more of those two ingredients than all the other companies put together. So, excellent source. And again, spirulina has very similar, characteristics in regards to, very high protein content, easily absorbable, all those same properties. So it's just a little different. Some people, are more, have more affinity towards spirulina, some with blue-green algae. I just thought, hey, they're both awesome, and these are both super high-end, raw material ingredients. So let's put them together.
Absolutely, and list the content of how much is in each capsule. Yeah, why don't you tell me a little bit about the pools that they use in Taiwan to grow this, and how quickly they grow. I thought that was just really interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. If you Google that, you can look at it. But they usually have anywhere from 4 to 10 of these huge ponds that are probably 100 feet across, and they've got the agitation arm that just spins around and keeps the water and keeps things moving. But this stuff grows incredibly fast. I mean, especially and what, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but the chlorella is grown in very much the same fashion. But the stuff doubles every 4 minutes, right, as far as the quantity. So it doesn't take very long to grow this stuff. I mean, it's very, very fast and very efficient, and it's like almost a renewable resource, right, that you just keep growing it and whatnot. So
yeah, it also speaks to the cleanliness of the product, that they're just sitting there in these individual ponds, being controlled, and they're not being harvested just out in the wild or something like that.
Right.
Okay, so good segue to the next guy, and that's the broken cell wall chlorella.
Yep. So again, same source, same country, same company. So, excellent quality. And again, they've been doing this long enough. Their labs they're incredibly extensive. So, any and all testing is done on this stuff to make sure that it's not only meets the quality claims, but as far as like some of the things we talked about, just with the environmental or heavy metals, anything of that nature, all that stuff is tested. This stuff is super clean.
Yes, and speaking of heavy metals, this is just a great player for overall basically keeping your body cleansed from those guys without throwing someone to do a really hefty detox. So I just love this as just a great everyday player to help keep your body as clear from heavy metals as possible. So just like you said, again, just an awesome cleansing agent, especially when you take it away from food. I usually will take 1 or 2 of these every night before I go to bed. I give it to my son before he goes to sleep. So anything else on the chlorella?
Nope, I think that was it for now.
All right. Okay, so then we put a nice mix of low dose probiotics, but they're here for a specific reason, and that is for bioavailability and absorption, which is such a big problem. So as you can see here, we've got a small and large intestine player. So Troy, why don't you talk a little bit about the probiotic mix we chose to toss in here?
Yeah, so again, just kind of making sure that the ingredients, I mean, we already know that they're more bioavailable, you know, the protein source is more bioavailable than any other protein source, but, you know, just taking those extra steps to ensure that you're going to get, you know, as much of that as possible. So obviously the first step in that is the Astrazyme, which we'll talk about in a minute,
Yep.
which has the ability to, you know, completely break those down into the smallest peptides and amino acids. And then increase absorption. So once they hit the small and large intestine, we want to, you know, help, you know, the body absorb as much of those as possible. So that's why these two are added. So acidophilus for the small intestine and bifidus for the big or large intestine.
Yep, absolutely. Just another really nice feature. And then that's a perfect segue into Astrazyme, which of course is, you know, the trademark of, you know, US Enzymes, you know, something that we just love to put as just that beautiful finishing touch on everything we do. You know, obviously we've done hour-long webinars on this guy, but Troy, why don't you, you know, give us a little Reader's Digest version and why this is such a great fit in this product.
Right. I mean, because we talked about, you know, these have incredibly, you know, in fact, the highest amounts of protein of any known substance on the planet. So Astrazyme is clinically proven to digest and absorb, increase absorption of protein. So this is why it's the absolute perfect combination together. So yeah, we know through the study, you know, if you watch the video or read the booklet, I mean, the results were out of this world. I mean, talking about, you know, a home run and knocking it out of the park. So, you know, you're looking 30-60% increase, you know, in the absorption rates and quantities of amino acids and peptides. So this is, you know, absolutely, you know, essential for a product like this. So,
yeah.
And again, yeah, you get the enzymes. The one thing I'm going to mention on here, this is kind of interesting. So during the organic certification process is that they will not allow any trace minerals to be put in any certified organic product. So Astrazyme typically, you know, comes with the proteolytic enzymes. It comes with the astragalus and the
Right.
notoginsine, and then a very small, you know, it's just this trace amount of trace minerals, but those are not allowed to be put in here. So that's why if you notice on the label, it doesn't say trace mineral because it's not allowed. So I was like, wow, that was a kind of a learning process. So what we're counting on here is that, you know, the mineral rich nature of those three main ingredients are gonna act as the mineral source for the enzymes.
Sure.
Yep. So just a little subtle thing kind of behind the scenes, again, things that you need to do or have to do in order to get certified.
Right.
Yep.
And to stay at the top of this game, especially if you're not one of the big guys. So yeah, great stuff. Okay, we talked a little bit about this, but again, to be able to get the Oregon Till certification, you need a very special capsule. Anything else? Comment on the capsule, Troy? I mean, I guess one thing I would want to mention, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, but is tons of doctors that work with patients that are, you know, sensitive to rice or autoimmune, you know, to rice, quote unquote, based off a food sensitivity test. And I've gotten from, you know, many immunologists that, you know, there is no concern about giving a patient who has any kind of rice sensitivity this product. As you mentioned, there's no rice protein in it.
No, absolutely none. So this is the rice hulls that are just simply, you know, they're probably a waste product, you know, that they collect and concentrate. So it's mainly for the silica content. So that's all it is essentially. So it acts as an anti-caking and a flow agent for the ingredients to flow into the capsule. That's it. So hence, you know, organic NuFlow 70R. That's just their kind of trademark registered name. So
yeah.
And again, very, very small amounts. You're talking probably anywhere from 5 to 10 milligrams per capsule. And again, zero rice, you know, content.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, a much better solution than pounding a tablet together and throwing magnesium stearate or some of these other stearates in it. I know even some high-speed encapsulators will use small amounts of talcum powder, which is a carcinogen. So I'd much rather go this route. I don't know about you.
Yep. It's a good choice.
Right. Okay, and then the last we touched a little bit about the capsule, but again, the capsule it's a big deal because of the certification of this product. So Troy, why don't you take it away?
Yeah. Yeah. So again, they're just, very picky about it as far as what kind of capsules they go into. So with this, this is really the only option. So it's an NP capsule, which is essentially just made of pullulan and water. So again, this counts against you. So like with the capsule size, so these are a little bit larger capsules. That's why we're only able to put 62 of them in the bottle. And typically, if you're going to do a month's supply, I mean, you can take up to 2 of them a day. Yep. So, but again, that's the main thing that counted against us, because it's a 120 milligram capsule. So if you have, 800 milligrams, including the capsule, the capsule is so 120 divided by, it's over 15% of the capsule. It's over 15% of the total weight of the capsule and the net contents of what's in it. So there you go. I mean, you're already down to 85% organic. Just
right.
simply because of the capsule weight.
The capsule.
So that's what counts, and then you count the probiotics and the enzymes, and now you're down to 75%.
Right. It's just great for this information to get out there for doctors and patients, so they're just not always looking for that 100% organic, because it doesn't mean much. It's much more to understand why labels are done the way that they are, and it's another real pleasure I have doing these webinars with you.
All right, I think that probably wraps up the the ingredients, right? Yep.
It does, yes, and that pretty much wraps up what we're going to talk about the product. Unless you've got any other clinical applications you'd like to throw out there, any aces for the docs?
No, again, just mainly from I've done a lot of colon cleansing, serious ozone type week long. Twice a day, pretty intense stuff, and also where you limit, like it completely eliminate, food as a source, right? I mean, these are pretty serious cleanses, and I go, the only thing I lived off during that week was blue-green algae. I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, you took massive doses of that, so it was like, you got your protein source, you got all your minerals, you got, it was just like a complete food. So again, that's pretty extreme example, but, not just from the helping with the cleansing aspect of it, but really just, nourishing your body and giving it great things, to get through, those cleansing, periods in your life.
Yeah. To keep the body from shutting down and doing the work that it needs to get done, that you're trying to ask it to do. Another good point is the blue-green algae, of course, is just loaded with AFAs, which is just amazing for your brain, just really good for your nerves, your nervous system. So this is just it really fits in with what we do, is like building a product that's good for many, many, many different supporting pieces of the body, rather than just focusing on just one thing.
Yeah. And then we just, again, the last thing is just the concentration, the volume of the great, and quality ingredients that are in there. So that's why you don't need a whole bunch of them. I mean, even if it's just 2, I go, I would rather see that, like large volumes of that. So I go, I'm going to get the result I want, not taking 100 capsules to get, like we saw in those first examples of those products.
Yeah, great point. My favorite way to take this is I usually just take one with a meal and one at bedtime. That way you get the benefits of both of these, and it seems to work really well with a lot of the doctor's patients. If you're focused more on someone who's got a really bad immunity situation, they need all the immune help they can get. Maybe they've had some chronic Epstein-Barr type problems or something like that in the past, then I would have them take them all at night. And it really does help people with feeling better in the morning, because their immune systems are working so hard at night. So yeah, a lot of different great uses for this product. And if that piques interest and you'd like to learn more, please email me at jason@usenzymes.com. If you've just heard of us for the first time, here's our website, and here's where you go to request an account if you're a practitioner. And I guess that'll wrap us up for this time. Troy, anything else to add as we close out here?
Nope, great job. Thanks, Jason.
All right, thank you so much, and looking forward to the next one. All right, good night, everybody.